API versioning. So API versioning allows basically APIs to like evolve without breaking existing clients. So let's say so far we have this client one here, and this client has been using, let's say, v1 slash users. So this is the version v1 that this client is using for this API. Now let's say in the future this client we are adding like some changes to the API. We want to just provide a new URL, like either for existing users that they may want to upgrade it to this new version, or they can just like stick with the old one and it is going to still work. Let's take an analogy. Let's say we have a book. Let's say we are an author and we are publishing books. Now let's say we have a version of a book. Like let's say this is v1 version of the book. Now let's say we have one reader here. Like let's say we have a client, or maybe C1, C2, and C3. So let's say these are our readers, our clients of this version of the book. Now let's assume that in the future, like let's say in like 2 years from now, we want to make a new edition of the book. So let's say we go from v2, v1, we go to the new version v2. So now this version is going to, let's say, contain like additional chapters, and is going to, let's say, no more like typos, let's say on chapter 5 and so on. So we have made some updates and we have this version 2. But a lot of readers are satisfied with this version, so they may not need to like use the new version of the book. They can just stick to this v1. Now, a lot of them, let's say, can also move to this, like, and read this book and still get all the relevant information they need and make sure that they are like practicing what they are learning and so on. But let's say we are also like making in a couple of years a major upgrade. Like let's say we are in version 3 of the book. So now this version has major changes. Like from v1 to v3 we made a lot of changes, and now a lot of users that used to only use the version v1 of the book are not going to be able to use this. So they may not likely really be. So a lot of changes are not backwards compatible, meaning that if you migrate from v1 directly to v3, a lot of things, let's say, may break, in the sense that a lot of, let's say, you have a lot of missing gaps. So you miss a lot of information, relevant information, to do this migration. Similarly in APIs. So let's say we went from v1 here, and now we are API v3. There may still be like users that are satisfied with v1, but if they want to, let's say, do a immediate like upgrade to v3 of the application, there are so many, let's say, changes in the responses of like specific, let's say, APIs. Like let's say we used to have like v1 users. Now this was actually, let's say, a response like this. Now a v3 may have still like a similar version, like similar URL, because like we are using REST, but the response is going to be probably, let's say, some fields may change, or like some objects that was, let's say, mandatory here is not going to be part of this, and you as a client here are going to need to actually handle this. And you need to make sure that you are not just like in a rush doing a upgrade from one version, like let's say from v1 to v5. You are, let's say, testing everything and making sure that things that used to work in v1 are still, let's say, working on a newer version, because like you are going to most likely have to redo some of the work, and some of the things that used to work may no longer work.